So I'm trying to film this real quick before the sun goes down. It doesn't look like I have that much time left, but this is going to be a video response to a video that I saw over on Lesley's channel from Words of a Reader, and she basically just talked about her reading habits as far as her source of reading, I guess, like whether she reads physical books, ebooks, and audiobooks. And so I just really liked her video on that, and I wanted to make a response video about how I read differently, I guess. Basically, my preference is always a physical book, but recently, since I got my tablet, I have used the Kindle app some, and I think for me, Kindle is really great for either really short things or really long things. I know I have two books on there, mainly The Luminaries and The Luminaries is by Eleanor Catton, and then Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, that are both massive. And I got Way of Kings for free, which was great, and then The Luminaries I got on a day where it was $2, and that was just really good because both of those books are massive. I think Way of Kings is something like over 1,000 pages, and then Luminaries is something like 800 or 900 pages. So I was just really happy to have those on my tablet, because it means I don't have to lug them around. I don't have to hold them up while I'm reading them. I didn't have to pay full price. Okay, sorry, I can't talk. I didn't have to pay full price for either of those. And then also, again, it's really good for like shorter things. And most recently, it has been really good for me finding classics in the public domain for books that I just don't really feel like I want to get from the library, or books that I don't actually want to pay for. And yes, that's great, especially because if I'm going on a trip, that way I don't have to bring a whole bunch of my classics with me, or anything like that. So yeah, it's just really great for storage purposes and free classics and stuff like that. But physical books will always be my favorite. And as far as audiobooks, you guys know that, like if you've been watching my channel for a while, for about the past year and a half or so, I have basically needed to listen to the audio while I follow along in a physical book if it is a good audiobook. I do tend to listen to a clip of the narration before I decide to listen to an audiobook or not, to decide whether or not the narrator is gonna annoy me. And most of the time, luckily, I get really lucky and there's really good narrators. For some of them, as soon as I hear their voice, I just know not to listen to it. But in those cases, what I've tended to do is I will just read the book out loud to myself. Or if it's like a smaller kid's book, it's not really that big of a deal that I have to hear it. I don't know. So yeah, I don't really know what it is about me having to having to listen to audiobooks while I read, or having to read out loud to myself recently. It's just given me a much better understanding of the stories that I'm reading, and it's helped me focus much more. And I don't know why. I don't know why I'm at that point now where it's kind of a necessity for me, but I'm really enjoying it because I really like hearing the voices of the narrators, and also if it's a really good narrator, it's even better. Like, I love listening to anything that Neil Gaiman narrates, usually from his own writing. I think those are mostly what he narrates, is all his own work. And I love that, and like kind of going off from that, I really love the full cast production of American Gods by Neil Gaiman. That is a full audiobook. It's not dramatized or abridged. It is the full author's preferred text, which is 1,200 words longer than the original. So the idea that they got a full cast to do that was just amazing to me. And the voice acting was unbelievable, especially the guy who plays Shadow Moon, and the guy who plays Mr. Nancy as well. For both of them, I really wanted those actors to audition for the show, but I didn't know if either of them were legit actors, or if they just do voice stuff, or if they just, not that voice act, I mean, like, I didn't know if they were just doing this as like a one-off thing, or if they do acting in general. So I was really hoping that they both acted on a regular basis, so that they might want to audition for the show. I don't know. But also, at the same time, I have specific people in mind for these characters on the show, so I don't know. And also, I'm trying to figure out the guy... I don't know who plays Mr. Nancy in the audiobook. I did at one point, because for some reason at one point I was able to get my hands on a cast list for the audiobook, but now I can't. But I'm trying to figure out if the guy who plays Mr. Nancy is the same guy who plays Mr. Echo on Lost, because his voice just sounds so similar to the guy who plays Mr. Nancy, and I'm like, are these the same guy? And if they're not, then I really want the guy who plays Mr. Echo on Lost to audition for American Gods and play him, play Mr. Nancy in American Gods. That would be great. But anyway, so yes, I love Neil Gaiman's audiobooks, and I love this particular narration, and I just really love when I find a great narrator. Like the guy who narrates the Terry Pratchett Discworld books is amazing. I don't know if he narrates the ones in the UK though, because I think a girl who I watch, Jean from Bookish Thoughts, said that I think a guy called Tony Robinson, I don't know, but some guy narrates them over there, or those versions, and the ones that I listen to are by Nigel Planer, or Planer. So yeah, I don't know what the difference is, but I really like Nigel Planer's narration, and I think it's really cool because he's actually appeared in one or two of the Discworld films. And also, one of the best audiobooks that I've ever listened to is Jim Broadbent narrating The Unlikely Pilgrimage of Harold Fry by Rachel Joyce. It was amazing. And so yeah, I really like it when I accidentally stumble upon really good audiobooks. So that's always fun. But yeah, so I love audiobooks, I love physical books, and I somewhat enjoy ebooks. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, if you guys are like what your ratio is, what you like best. But really just make a video response to Lesley's video, because she gets the credit for this, for talking about reading habits as far as like what type of books you read, or like what format. That's the word I was looking for from the beginning of this video. But yes, so thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.